Hey guys, TJ here, and today we're going to be talking about Justice League. So after watching the film, I was trying to figure out where I had seen the story before, and then it hit me. It's this. This is a mixture of the animated Justice League War film and Batman vs. Superman, with a few Marvel jokes sprinkled throughout. Justice League is a superhero action film directed by Zack Snyder, with the reshoots being done by Joss Whedon. This is the 5th film in the DC Cinematic Universe, and well, it's not the worst. It's not even the second. It's exactly in the middle. It's the 3rd worst. It's also the 3rd best. So in BVS, there was the Flash. He went back in time, and Batman, he saw, and he was killing, and the big giant, symbol was on the ground, and the demons were flying around. Anyway, so Batman is trying to put together a team, and he needs to assemble the League in order to confront this threat that he knows that he can't deal with on his own. But this film stars Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher, and some new faces that show up that really didn't get that much to do. Like Amber Heard, who plays Mira, only gets like a minute of screen time. J.K. Simmons, who plays Detective Gordon, he only gets a minute of screen time. Ben Affleck as Batman is definitely less dark and grumpy all the time. The fact that they already have made this Batman seem like he's been doing this for a long time and old and he can't do it much longer kind of changes the dynamic of this Justice League, really. Wonder Woman kind of hits on the same notes as she did in her own film. I mean, Aquaman, he's Jason Momoa, so Cyborg was not as bad as I thought he'd be. Ezra Miller as the Flash. At first I wasn't sure about the casting, but I think he works here. If anything, he's the most MCU character in this film. Obviously he's making jokes and he's kind of the comic relief character. And it works for his character. It doesn't really work for everybody else. I just feel like because we are meeting most of these characters for the first time, we don't get the connection that we did in the Avengers, which I really wish we did. So ultimately Batman has to put this team together to confront the evil Steppenwolf who's trying to destroy the entire planet. Pretty sure the villain's plan was kind of the exact same plan as Zod's from Man of Steel. And he just kind of appears too, like, that's it, he's there. The villain is not good. The villain is completely forgettable, worse than the most generic Marvel villain that there is. I mean, Zod yelled all the time, Ares had that mustache, Doomsday killed Superman, even the Enchantress had that weird hula hoop dance. Like, what did this villain do? I didn't know what the villain's plan really was. I mean, I kind of got it, but like he just appeared out of nowhere, and it's like, who are you? Who's this guy? What's his motivation? I think they tried to explain it in a small sequence, which, exposition, I get it, they have to do it, but that's just because they didn't have enough time. They had decent chemistry on screen, better than Batman vs. Superman. I mean, hell, everyone hated each other in Batman vs. Superman, so I guess there's a step up. There's a team here. There's a team. And in a film about Justice League and all the DC heroes coming together to fight this evil threat, you expect this to be like the Avengers of the DC universe, so you want a bunch of memorable action sequences and things that you're going to be like, oh, remember when that happened in the Justice League? I honestly can't really remember anything that happened in this film. I mean, I understand what happened, but there was no standout action sequence, which for Justice League, how do you not have a standout action sequence? It doesn't make any sense. The biggest problem that comes with this film is the fact that it's rushed. It really is. A lot of the film is just us kind of getting background information and meeting people from different characters' lives, which, it would have helped if we just, had these movies ahead of time. Release a Batman film, release a Wonder Woman film, release a Superman film, release a Flash film, maybe Aquaman, and then you can jump in. Don't just jump into Justice League. Don't do that. The fact that we got these characters introduced to us in like a weird montage in BVS, it kind of just feels cheap now. The plot of this film makes the other films that came before it a lot more confusing. Like a lot of plot elements are trying to connect to the past, but it doesn't really fit. Any questions that you had from the past films kind of aren't explained either. One of the things this film does well, it does have a few scenes where, fans of the comics and these heroes in general will get a few Easter eggs, a few, bits of fan service there that I was not expecting. This film is scored by Danny Elfman, so Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL are not doing this in any way. If anything, it's a generic score with just like small light motifs of the '89 Batman score or the John Williams Superman score, or even the Flash CW show score. Kind of, it sounds like it's in there, but ultimately this score is just forgettable. The entire third act of the movie is extremely dark, and I don't mean like the tone is dark. I'm talking about the actual setting is dark. The sky is turned red, everything is red, which made it very hard for me to tell what was going on with the action. Kind of like how the Transformers films are. There's a lot going on screen, but I can't clearly tell what characters are doing what. It was kind of a red blur, and I'm not talking about The Flash. Also, I find it funny that DC is now, after the whole Metropolis thing from Man of Steel, just putting their third acts in like uninhabited locations. The Avengers, they have to fight the enemy as well as save civilians. In Justice League, their solution is to just make them fight in remote locations and only sprinkle in a few citizens here and there to save. As a matter of fact, we spend quite a bit of time with like a single family in this film that has to, you know, be saved by the Justice League, which is interesting choice. The future for this franchise is extremely uncertain. I'd probably say that's the case for most franchises that aren't Marvel at this point, but I don't know. We'll see what happens from here. But this film did one thing right. It's that they finally were able to get the Justice League on screen. Well, most of the Justice League on screen. So for the comic book guys out there who just want to see it to say they've seen the Justice League on screen, go see it in theaters. But for everybody else, this is probably just a wait, or you catch it on TV one day and you leave it playing in the background. Honestly, I wouldn't even say wait for it. The animated show is better. The animated movies are better. Hell, even the Injustice campaign from the video games, it's better. This film goes out of its way to assure us that if Superman is alive, there is no need for a Justice League. Well, that's all I got today, guys. Hope you didn't mind the ranting. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.